It's like Parliament question time with less name calling.
You have a face like a kicked-in biscuit tin, Tom.
Maybe not. Tom and Ollie on Triple M.
Tom and I love to receive your correspondence on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter at Tom and Ollie. And we got one from Andy. A message came through, Tom. That's actually a fake name because Andy had a question surrounding workplace relationships. And we thought this question is a great question. It's pretty heavy.
I'll do it. I've got expertise. I know about relationships. I've had 2 boyfriends.
I appreciate that, Tom. You've done a lot of stuff in your spare time.
And a girlfriend. So that's a lot of relationships, mate.
You're a busy guy. No. I thought you're great. But let's get an expert. Let's get sexologist Nikki Goldstein on.
You fired me already.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Just too much other stuff going on with you. To answer Andy's real-life question that I'm sure is very relatable for a lot of people who have work and relationships.
It's up next. This is live all over you. Triple M's Tom and Ollie, we have questions. It's live all over you. Triple M's Tom and Ollie, we have questions. Super excited to be joined by Dr. Nikki Goldstein, relationship expert, sexologist. Mate, I'm so happy that we can finally have you on our show.
I'm so happy you can get my title right.
Sorry, Nikki, is docker? Docking is a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you a docker or a doctor?
I don't know if
Okay, boys, let's keep going.
I don't know if Dr.
All right.
Nikki can dock.
We've
but anyway.
just said hellos. Okay, Nikki, thank you for joining us. The reason why we got you on is because we got a great question that got sent in on Facebook from fake name Andy. I'll read it to you, Nikki, and with your expertise, we want to dissect the whole notion of relationships at workplaces. There's a bit of a thing about don't shit where you eat, to be crude about it. But here's Andy's question. Hey guys, I have a question maybe you could ask your audience. I'm married with 2 kids. My relationship hasn't been in a good place for a couple of years and I have tried to talk to my wife about it, but she always turns every situation around and throws every bad thing I've ever done back in my face. Ouch. I guess that's not really the problem though. The issue is that I have recently begun to develop feelings for a co-worker, and whilst I have no confirmation of this, I'm pretty sure the feeling is mutual. Could your audience, or Nikki Goldstein in this case, possibly offer some advice? I don't see any way I can navigate this without being a total C-bomb. So, tough situation, Nikki.
Tough
Pretty
situation,
common, I would
but I
say.
think fake Andy's got the issue wrong because before we even get to the office romance, the fact of the matter is he's married with 2 kids. And this really is a recipe that we see so often. You know, something happens to someone's relationship at home, things have been not working for quite some time. And often it is the person at work because you're there with them, you're talking to them, you might be going on a lunch break, having a cheeky flirt over a coffee, and you start to see something that you haven't in your relationship for a very long time. So my first bit of advice to fake name Andy would be, even if your wife is throwing everything back at you, which you could be holding on to a lot of resentment, try and get some help in terms of maybe seeing a couples counselor, going to therapy, finding a neutral way to have these conversations to try put the relationship back on track. Don't enter into an office affair whilst you're still married. See if you can work that relationship out first. If it doesn't work out, then you've got the next question of, do I want to pick something up in the office? Because if it's an affair, it's a recipe for disaster. Because what happens at the staff Christmas party if partners come along or someone else gets wind of what's going on and they're friends with fake Andy's wife? You know, it really is too much scandal to be able to mix into a working environment, and it's never going to end well.
So would
then
you
we've
say
got-
no partners at the party? Is that what you suggest? How do we avoid this situation?
Well, listen, you know, no partners, that's an entirely different subject. But the reality of it is if you're in an office and you've been married for a while, you're probably friends with someone else's husband and wife that, you know, it's all incestuously connected. And we all have Facebook anyway these days.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're bound to actually be sprung. But the issue is, even if fake Andy is not married and doesn't have children, or does have children, but is a free person, should he be having an affair at work?
Well, and the other question is that I've
Sorry,
got
a
for you.
relationship, not an affair.
Yeah, sure. Dr. Nikki, is the grass greener on the other side when it comes to this type of thing? If you are in a relationship, is the grass always
Is it
greener?
too easy to fall
Is
into
it too
that
easy to fall
mindset?
into it?
I think we have this mentality of FOMO. You know, we're all fearful of missing out on something, and especially when it comes to a relationship that isn't working and we see something that's like the shiny new toy. Here we've got that connection again and it sounds all fun and we're flirting and it's the beginning of something. It can be an issue of thinking the grass is greener on the other side. But if fake Andy were, say, to partner up with this person at work, fast forward a few years in a relationship, what's to say that that relationship isn't going to suffer the same fate? But I don't think this means that you should shy away from office relationships. I'm actually not against them.
Yes, good, Nikki. I'm
okay.
just saying.
All
right,
I'm a big
okay.
fan of
Office affairs, no, but office relationships, maybe.
Well, Ollie, why did you keep turning down my advances, mate?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. I've got a
God,
girlfriend. but-
Never, ever, ever.
Oh, there was that one time.
Oh, no, that wasn't.
I mean, I think it's a great place, a workplace, to develop good relationships, to get to know someone on a more platonic level, and then see if there's more to connect with. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I think there's this point of commonality because it depends really on what career you're in. But say if you are in a career where you work long hours and you might not have the time to be meeting people outside of that. Also, too, you might have an interest in what you're doing. So if somebody else is in the office in the same profession, there is something that you both have in common. So it can be a great grounds to be able to say, oh, we understand each other, or we understand the work commitments on each other.
Yep.
It's often you'll find people in media, they often like to partner up with someone else in media because they understand what the game is all about and what's expected of that person.
Yep.
But we do actually need to go back to the advice of don't shit where you eat, because if it does go wrong, you can never escape that person, and you may be in some very awkward situations where they're your boss or you're going against them on something, or even worse, as a HR complaint.
We're speaking to Dr. Nikki Goldstein, relationship expert, sexologist. Now, I want to just ask about workplace relationships, Ollie. You want to go? You want to turn the tack? 1-333-53.
Has your workplace relationship gone bad? How did it go? Because we were going to say, how did it go, yay or nay? But we don't want to hear stories about how you've met your partner
No,
and it's a happy
the
days.
bad
I mean,
ones.
yeah, that's cute. That's great for you. But the negative side of things, we've got Dr. Nikki Goldstein to answer your questions, to help you out. So 1-333-53. Workplace relationships gone wrong. What happened? Let's try and help you out.
You with Tom and Ollie on Triple M. It's clothes I slept in. Luca Brasi, Triple M's Tom and Ollie. We have questions. After 9 o'clock, I've got some great stories about let's never speak of this again moments. But right now, we're speaking to Dr. Nikki Goldstein, relationship expert, sexologist. We're talking about relationships at work, Ollie.
Yeah, 1-333-53 is our number. If you want some advice on workplace relationships, how they can work, maybe you've got a scenario where it didn't work out, but any questions can be directed to Dr. Nikki Goldstein, obviously a professional in the area. Nikki, thank you so much. We've got a question from Tim. Tim, what happened with your workplace relationship?
So I was managing a bar, and one of the rules that we used to have at the bar was that you couldn't date anybody else at work to try to avoid that whole workplace unfortunateness.
Yeah.
The downside was I myself broke the rule.
Tim.
I'm going out with one of the waitresses. And from a workplace perspective at work, because, nobody at work ever knew, it never interfered in terms of the working relationship that we had. We broke off amicably. But then she started to go out with the new barman that we had, and then basically flaunted it in front of me, knowing that there wasn't a thing that I could do to stop it because I had broken a rule first with her.
Oh, Tim.
What a rule breaker, a double rule breaker.
Sounds
that's
like a
insane.
TV show plot. It's pretty
Yeah.
juicy stuff.
But that's the exact example of when it goes wrong, because you're then stuck with that person. And if they do decide to do something like date someone else at work, you're really stuck. And it does start to affect your working environment. It can't be pleasant to be at a bar with your ex-girlfriend and the new boyfriend who's probably standing somewhere near you.
Yeah. It's like an episode of the OC, isn't it?
I can recall many jobs where a lot of workplace relationships were kept secret, and like they come out like 6 months later, and it's like, yeah, they were together for like a year.
It's so
and you
exciting.
Go, what?
It's so
How
exciting.
did you keep that secret?
1-333-53. Do you need some advice about a relationship at work? Maybe you want to jump, maybe you want to go for it, but you're not too sure. Ask Dr. Nikki Goldstein, 1-333-53. With Triple M's Tom and Ollie, we have questions. It's Aussie Crawl. Boys light up. Triple M's Tom and Ollie, we have questions. And we've got Dr. Nikki Goldstein, relationship expert, sexologist, and all-round just awesome chick as well. Loving having a chat
thanks.
with you, Dr. Nikki
Flirting.
Goldstein.
Yeah, hey, there's a bit of office romance right there.
Tell me about it. The
Except
gay-
we're in different states.
And also, I'm gay, so it doesn't mean anything. I can say whatever I want.
All right, I'll play the
Don't-
gay card.
don't
Thanks,
pull
mate.
that.
You don't have to pay it for me. Look, we're talking about relationships at work. Dr. Nikki Goldstein, I thought right now it'd be good to cover off the do's and don'ts of relationships at work. What are some of the do's and don'ts of this?
Okay, so let's start with the don'ts.
Okay.
It's coming up to Christmas. We're all having our Christmas parties.
Yeah, we certainly
we all know that means a few drinks and a lot of worked up sexual tension.
Years,
Do not-
years of building up.
Yeah, years of flirting.
Yes.
Do not do the casual hookup at work. If you feel that there is something strong romantically and that there is somebody that really could make a fantastic life partner, but you just so happen to work together, that's where you should explore it.
Okay.
Where it's really going to get nasty is if it is a Christmas party hookup, because, like we heard with our friend who manages the bar, somebody may be jumping to somebody else as well. It starts to get a little bit messy. So that's why I think you've really got to consider if it is something that you see a long-term relationship with, that there's this person that just so happens to work with you, but they could be the wife and the mother of your children. Go for it and navigate through the issues of who we tell, where we cross paths. But if it's just a matter of this chick is hot and I would really like to go there, if she works with you, back off and just put it to the wank bank.
Oh, what? What, so we just got to control ourselves and walk away?
Or you can take the fantasy away. You can indulge in a bit of flirtation, right? Like
Yeah.
have a bit of a flirt, have a bit of a banter, but it's just that situation that is always going to go horribly wrong. I can't sugarcoat that.
It is true that, once if it does go wrong, then you are the next day you're back at work and it's just, oh,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
That's not.
Not for
Or
me.
you're sneaking off to the bathrooms.
Long-term partner for 7 years. But okay, so don't do that. If you are single, it's not as simple as you just said, go for it. Because there are complications. What else is there in terms of do's and don'ts? Like if you've got a partner, it's a flat out don't.
If you're going, you mean if you're in a relationship?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to encourage cheating, right?
I'm just checking.
Like it's a flat out don't.
I'm just checking.
Right?
That sounded
Listen, infidelity happens. Like we get the stats from Ashley Madison, and it's it happens. But for the people out there that are struggling in their relationships, because I think the most common divorce date is sometime in January. So we kind of get into that period now where everyone starts to hold on because it's Christmas, it's the end of the year, no one wants to screw up holiday plans. Everybody holds in and then sometimes cracks in January. But I really think if you can either make a relationship work and start to work on it, whether it's getting help, continuing to talk to your partner, even if they're throwing everything back in your face, do not give up. Or if you decide to end things, then go explore that connection you've had with the person at work or one of your mates that you think could be more than just friends. A relationship ending is always going to be hard. It's going to be even more complicated if you're caught with your pants down.
Yeah, true. Dr. Nikki Goldstein, thank you so much for joining us. I've just got one question for you. One more question, right? I've got this mate,
Here we
right?
go.
He's-
I've got this mate.
I've got this
inverted
mate.
commas.
I've got this mate.
Sounds
He's
like we
been
all know
going
what that
out. He's
means.
going out with his long-term girlfriend for 7 years, and he still hasn't popped the question. I mean, is he a psycho?
Oh, see, this is okay. This is the one where you're actually going to like my answer to this one.
Classic,
I
yeah.
think we put too much pressure on marriage.
Yes.
Oh,
Why
what?
can you not commit these days
Yep.
without feeling like you have to do what everyone else does and put a ring on the finger?
What does a piece of metal
Buy
actually
a house
mean?
together.
Exactly.
The commitment is financial. If you're committing in terms of moving in together, putting your life together, buying a house together, that's the commitment that you need. If you're not sure if you believe in marriage or not, that's fine. The only thing is you got to check that your partner's on the same page with that.
Well, she's already bought the house, hasn't she, Ollie?
Yes, and the ring. I've got to give it to her.
Dr. Nikki Goldstein, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
and
for
I
having
can't
me.
wait to get you back.
Thanks, Nikki.
Tom and Ollie on Triple M.